When doing a complex demo, oftentimes you're wearing different hats to show different roles within your story. It can be easy for your audience then to get lost on who's doing what and clicking what button. Without any clear cues, it can be really confusing to an audience member. So in this video, we're going to see how we can make this a little easier with OBS. Before we get started, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button to learn more tips and tricks in the future. Long, complex demos can happen during pre-sales presentations and RFPs. And a lot of times these are to a mixed audience. Some of them IT, some of them end users, or others are business decision makers. Often, parts of your demo only matter to a certain part of the audience at that given point in time. So it's not surprising then that your audience minds might start drifting. And when they come back, they're easily lost where they are in the demo. And what I just showed you is how you can easily create an automated workflow for your business without code. Any questions?
That looks great. Could you show us how to create an automated workflow?
Let's say we have a demo here with two different personas. One is a citizen developer who is creating workflows in Microsoft Power Automate, which means it's a technical audience. The second persona is an office user that works day in, day out in productivity tools like Word and SharePoint. So they're a productivity user. And if you're not careful, you might scare the productivity users in the audience. They might think, oh man, I have to learn these complex workflow tools, when actually you just need them to understand the parts of where they're using the tools that they're already using. And here you can use conditional logic to determine which procedure will get done and send a notification to users when an invoice is ready to process.
This is too complicated. I can't do this. Is there a simpler software?
What we really want to do is we want to have the citizen developers in the crowd be clear on which parts relate to them, and the productivity users understand what matters to them. In the last video, I walked through how you can use OBS as a fast app switcher by splitting your screen into quadrants so you can shift from one part of your demo to the next. The link to that video is in the description below and applies to remote, in-person, and recorded demos. What we can do is build on that by adding titles to our different scenes to show who we're acting as. And I'm going to show you two ways you can do that. The first way with OBS is to use a free tool I created to help us with this. If you go to the site here, you can first choose your persona image, and there's a variety of different images in here. We're going to choose, say, Carrie here, and we can set her name and her title. So let's add Carrie Smith, and her title is going to be Vice President. So we can see a preview of what that's going to look like there. That looks pretty cool. So then I can go in here and I can just copy this URL here, which will allow me to then add that as a title in OBS. So now if I switch to OBS, I'm going to go to my sources palette here. I'm going to click on the plus sign to add a new browser source. We're going to call this Persona Title 2. That's because I'm on my second screen here. We're going to click OK. And then in my URL, I'm going to just paste the URL we got from our web page. And we're going to choose our width to be 800, our height to be 300. Now, if I go back to the web page here briefly, we will notice that these instructions are also in step 3 here. So if we scroll down, we'll also see that there's two steps here. One is to shut down the source when not visible and refresh browser when the scene becomes active. The reason that we're doing this is that it allows the animation to then regenerate the animation when we switch different scenes. So let's click OK. And so now we can see that title now showing up in the top left corner. I can drag that around my canvas to choose where I want to put it. I like to put it in the bottom right corner. And what that means then is that now if I switch to screen 1, it now renders Buck Anderson, and this is for the persona of a developer. And if I switch to screen 2, Now it's switching to Carrie Smith, the vice president. Each one of my audience members then can clearly see which part of the demo matters most to the persona that matters to them. So this is a cool way to easily add this into your demos. The second way you can do this if you want to have a little bit more customization is a trick using Adobe Express. So if I go to Adobe Express within my web browser here, I can go and I'm going to click on Custom Size. I'm going to click on Standard. We're going to choose Widescreen because that's the size of our canvas in OBS. And the great thing about Adobe Express is that it has all sorts of different designs to make it easy, so I don't have to be a designer. If I go to text here, we can see there's all sorts of cool different designs for me. I like this one, which says Chris Teller. I'm going to select that. That's going to drop that into my canvas here. I can then now resize this to the size that I want. I'm going to put that in the lower corner here. I'm going to double click. Then we can then change this text to Carrie Smith. And we can change the regional brand manager text here to vice president. Beautiful. So then once I'm ready, I've created my design. Maybe I also want to use things like shapes or some design assets that are available in here. But once I have that, I can go and click on download, and I'm going to download it as a transparent background. Now that downloads as a PNG on my computer. Now I'm going to take that PNG file from my downloads. I'm going to go over to OBS and drop that into my canvas. And now we can see that it's added that lower third into my canvas. And you'll notice that this is a very large 4K size, so we can also resize this. Although one trick that I do like is if you right click on this and you just go to transform and choose fit to screen, then it will fit it to the right size there. And now we have our lower third in there. Looks pretty, looks great, and well designed. So 2 approaches. 1, using that pre-made tool online, which is free and available, or using tools like Adobe Express to create your own titles and drop those into OBS. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment with your questions or some future tips and tricks that you might want me to walk through. Thanks a lot. A little bit more.
Okay. All right.